So let's see when we are. Oh, now we're good. It's working.
Well, it's good to be good.
It is good to be good.
That's probably the worst open that we've had.
I almost hit delete, which we informed in the last podcast. We don't delete anything.
We don't. We don't edit.
We don't edit. So
probably I'll have to edit the video one because there's at least 3 minutes of us just sitting here going
to the left.
You realize it's a podcast and they can't see your face while you're making the grimace. So in order to correlate the look that Kurt just gave the recorder, you're going to need to go to YouTube and see the video version of this podcast.
Which I'm sure is way more exciting than the audio-only version.
It could be, but to our listeners, because there are a few, I will take pictures of Kurt's grimacing face to put up.
I have no coffee today.
Yes.
Here at the
had
podcast.
Coffee, though.
Because we got some new coffee in
We did.
the office this morning, and I've already had too much. I mean, I can have some later. I'll be fine. But if I would have another one now, there would be problems.
Like
I would have issues at some point, and I don't want to.
Would you have to go take a nap?
Well, I would crash, and then I would nap. It wouldn't be a have to. It would just happen.
So you're sitting at your desk, and it would just go whoosh.
Yeah, and I don't want to break that glass on the desk.
That would be hurt. That would hurt. We'd probably have to
It would hurt your
pick
face.
shards out of your face.
It'd be a good first aid class.
Yeah, I
Dario
suppose.
can tell us what to do.
But I don't feel like that's a workman's comp issue I want to deal with. So thank you for not drinking coffee during the podcast. It's weird, though. You should have a cup of something.
Because you always have coffee.
I do, and now I'm kind of spaced out. I'm really not even listening to you right now because I got kind of a caffeine rush. So, Black Riffle Coffee, if you're listening, we would appreciate your sponsorship.
Oh, it's a really cool company. My mom introduced me to them. Black Riffle Coffee Company is a company that was founded by, I believe, veterans. And they work with veterans and a few other organizations. And so a part of the proceeds of this company go towards great causes like veterans that have, fought for freedom and such. And it's named after different kinds of artillery. And it's an American-made company. They're roasted in the United States. And I don't know. It's really good. I like it. I'm drinking their espresso version right now.
Or you don't want to say the brand?
I don't know.
I had Silencer Smooth.
You had Silencer
just
Smooth.
Now,
I had AK-47.
And I'll have
espresso.
Try the Just Black later.
The Just Black?
Mm-hmm. Do you know what kind you tried?
AK-47.
AK-47.
What do you think of it? Because you have it without cream. I have mine with cream.
It's dark, right?
It's very lethal.
Lethal. Do you like it?
It's good.
It's smooth.
I like it.
So Kurt had the Silencer Smooth, and you smell it, and it's got a sweet after finish.
Mm-hmm.
It's a really unique coffee.
I haven't tried it
I
yet.
think we're going to have a tasting. We're going to have a Keurig tasting where we all just get little bits of the coffee.
Well, that's what I'm doing today all day, is I'm having a tasting.
But you're not
Maybe
doing
you should, do it 2 days.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking of you and your...
I can sleep on Saturday. Maybe.
You could also try to sleep at night.
I'm not even shaking. Look. See? Like a rock.
I feel like you.
yeah, I think there was a tremor in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that little guy there, he didn't count.
It counts.
Okay.
I have a topic in mind.
Okay, do you want to open up the podcast?
Oh, welcome to the Hospitality Authority podcast. Here at the Leadership Center, we've got our regular crew here. Dario, Michaela, me, I'm Kurt, and Miley. And we're here in the Jensen boardroom once again. And those of you on YouTube, all four of you who typically just listen to us, you can see us now.
Hi.
And that's our new camera, which We haven't settled on a name yet for the camera, but I'll give it some thought. But the top
I've
guy...
thrown out a couple of names. I vetoed one.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it was Cameron, and we have a Cameron.
No.
Your first one was Beulah?
Beulah.
No.
I'm not feeling it.
No.
We'll give it some thought. We may have to have a meeting about it.
We need to have a podcast.
Yeah, well,
About me.
maybe we'll have a contest, and all 4 of you who listen. It'll be up to 12 by the end of the month. I'm just going to guarantee that right now. Combined between
So in the
SoundCloud
next,
and
like,
YouTube.
3 days.
We got it. Especially since
No
this isn't going
problem.
to go up till next week.
It's no problem.
Unless we have a special episode release.
We've recorded some really good ones, and they will become popularized. So yesterday, in the kitchen, there were 3 new employees in the afternoon, I believe. Mm-hmm. And it was total training day because there was three newbies and 2 or 3
3.
experienced.
John
members.
and John were in mode. They were having a blast.
Mm-hmm.
And Mackie was just thinking, more kids to do the dishes.
Yeah, that's cool. And these dudes were like, dudes, all 3 of them.
Yeah.
Wide-eyed. Like I was showing the not so tall kid, not as tall kid. I was showing him where to get
Nate.
Nate.
He prefers to go by Nate Dog.
I don't know if he prefers it, but he's
He
getting
asked
it.
me if
Kurt
he could
asked-
go by Nate Dog over dinner last night.
Okay, good. But I was showing him where to get, his apron and his work shirt and his hat, and he was like, "Oh my god, I gotta remember all this stuff." It's like, yeah.
And you have to clock in.
Yeah, and
I mean, the kid did just have a concussion, so...
that's true.
So he actually asked me how important clocking in and clocking out
Not
is.
funny at all.
And I asked him if he wanted to get paid. And he said, yeah, I think I do. I said, you think you do?
Maybe he doesn't feel like he knows enough yet.
I don't know,
To
but he's a
deserve money.
sweet kid. And he told us, by and large, it's the best job he's ever had. I think it's also his second job, it's second job next to detasseling that he's ever had. And it was because he got to eat.
Oh, well, that's good.
I think that's a big selling point to a lot of people. Teenagers.
Yeah.
I know.
Jeremiah said that too. He liked the fact that he was going to get to eat food, and it wasn't like your standardized fast food.
Oh, way better food than.
Yeah, they had
McDonald's.
carnitas enchiladas last night, and
Smells
Chef
good.
John started making the meat at like 12:30 last, and it wafted into the office. It smelled amazing,
Yeah, it was good.
better than a Chipotle. It smelled so good. I know.
Dario was going to completely
It's
disagree
hard.
with
It's
that.
hard for me to say.
You disagree, Dario?
Yeah, I disagree.
Dario
Okay.
loves Carnina's burritos from Chipotle.
Did you try John's?
Yeah, but there's nothing better than the other
Okay.
place.
Nothing.
Nothing.
Wow.
Okay.
And trust me, I had. good
He's
experience.
experienced with carnitas.
I will say that that's the closest Mexican of any other place.
Yeah, that's what
Really?
Dario told me.
Yeah. Yeah. I love their guacamole.
Closest of any chain or
American.
Not like food,
really?
because even you go to a Mexican place,
It's Americanized.
it's Americanized. That place is more like real beans, real rice, real salsas. The sauces.
Oh,
you
the
have there,
salsas are amazing.
Is
to
it-
another level.
Are
of,
the seasonings of the meat something you would find in Mexico?
I don't know, but
You like it?
I love it.
I made a recipe of a copycat chicken from Chipotle. It was really good.
So I never get meat when I go there.
I was
always
thinking
get the
something else.
vegetarian.
It's like copycat chicken, and then I was thinking, you're not eating a cat, are you? And then
God.
my brain caught up to what you were talking about.
No, it was like
It was
a copycat
chicken.
recipe from Chipotle.
Wow.
It's like, now I'm thinking cat recipe. Is that really on Pinterest?
Yep.
And now I'm definitely going to search Pinterest for cat recipes.
You will
Sure,
find them.
you'll find them.
See
They're
what shows
delicacies in
up.
other
So
parts of the
weird.
world.
I know.
So new employees.
I wanted to ask y'all about like your first jobs and your first experiences at those jobs.
Are we talking like
First job, like
job
when you
in
get
a
paid,
workplace?
or like your first job?
Right.
First job?
Either.
Okay.
Because my first job, well, I mean, I'm a farm kid, so working on the farm, but my first job outside of the farm was babysitting for the summer.
Sometimes I think that, I mean, I don't want to,
What was your
Insult
first
them.
job?
hold on, I'll respond to that. But sometimes I think, like, farmers, like, that's kind of your lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you grew up doing that. There's nothing else, like, you grew up, milking cows at 4 a.m, whatever. And that's basically your lifestyle. It was not a job. It's like, that's what I do.
It was, though, because I wasn't allowed to take a nap. Like, if I slept in, there were repercussions, and I did get a paycheck.
Did you get a paycheck?
I did. I got
So that was
$25 a week.
That's not bad.
No, it wasn't, honestly. Well, if you
Oh,
think about it, when I was a high schooler, gas was like 82 cents a gallon. So $25 went a long way. I did actually get a job off our farm. I worked...
Back in the 70s?
Yeah, back in the 70s. Right after the dinosaurs expired, Kurt and I came along, being older than the rest of you and being asked to advise from time to time.
Way to throw that in there.
I worked for my uncle, Rod, and I worked for our neighbors, and they were both dairy farmers, and I would go milk cows. And I made more than $25 a week then, and I liked that kind of work. I didn't you would have never got me to babysit. Ever. Like, ever. Never, ever, ever.
I babysitted for 3 summers. 2 for the same 2 kids, which was awful. And then 1 summer for 1 kid.
I just think that sounds terrible.
And then I got my first job once I was 16. I got my first job working telemarketing. So that was fun.
I worked on the farm, or on a farm, or for farmers until I graduated high school. I liked that kind of work. I liked physical labor. I liked not being in house cooking, and I liked not babysitting. Those were really important things to me. Okay. And we had livestock and stuff, so I loved farming, though.
My first job was at my grandpa's shoe repair shop.
He was a cobbler.
A cobbler, yeah. So I worked with him since I don't know. I think kind of started when I was 12-ish. Just going over there and sweep and check it out, do some shining the shoes thing, kind of thing. And I mean, the pay I got, it was just nothing, but the experience, I guess, it was worth it.
You were a shoe shine boy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What was your first job?
Detasseling corn
I
and
was-
walking beans.
Dara and I were not eligible for detasseling
Yeah.
corn.
You were tall enough.
I wasn't because back then you had to be a certain height. I was not tall enough.
I actually don't know. Well, I know exactly what the tasseling is. Finally, I learned.
Now you know.
Yeah,
Yeah, now I know. But
Yeah.
now I understand.
Did you
never did that.
detassel corn?
Never.
What?
I get super sick during harvest with the dust and the
yeah.
pollen and everything. So detasseling would not have been an option for me. I did rogue beans though. So
I think about the work experience I got with my stepdad. So I also learned how to weld from my stepdad. So I worked in the welding shop. Probably my absolute favorite job before I learned how to be a waitress was welding with my stepdad every summer. And I came home from college and did that for one summer, at least one summer, maybe 2. And I loved working with him because he had such a customer care about him and the way he cared for his clients and how his mind works for solving problems. So he'd bring in a piece of equipment and I'd be like, well, I don't know how to fix that. And my stepdad would get in there and he'd look and oh, well, this is what we need. And then he'd send me to the trailers to go get angle iron or whatever. And in a half hour, 45 minutes, he would have rigged something up and it worked beautifully. And I really loved the way he cared for people that way. And I thought that was a really neat thing. And I think, so I loved that. And it was the same kind of care he had about being a dairy farmer. So, I don't know. I liked it.
What about coolest part-time jobs or jobs that you had besides the one you have now?
Which is not a part-time job for any of us.
Like a part-time job?
Yeah,
A job before your grown-up job, maybe?
yeah, a job before your grown-up job or whatever.
My favorite part-time job was in high school. I took over for somebody once they graduated and cleaned the hair salon in Hampton. And it was just one day a week. And by doing so, I got free tanning. And I also manned the tanning desk for like late nights during the week during prom season for everyone. So
Wow.
that was my favorite job. I hated telemarketing. Yeah, it was awful.
That's
And
kind of
then-
funny because when you said I was telemarketing, you made it sound like it was a cool job.
No, I hated it because I was tech support for an electronics company.
Oh, yeah.
So you get irate people all the time. And
But I
then,
bet you learned some pretty incredible things through that experience.
yeah, I mean, I learned reading the manuals, people, is incredibly important.
Which is what you did today when we were getting the camera set up.
I do. I try and read all electronic manuals before I use any electronics because if you break something or you screw up a setting on a camera or a watch or something, it's most likely because you did not read the manual and there's an easy fix in the manual. And by calling tech support, all they're doing is looking at a manual and they're reading it back to you. And
So it's like a summer reading program for kids.
it is. Like, it really is. Like, when I did it, I would get, because I did it for Casio products, and so I would get calls for keyboards and watches, especially, and calculators. Watches and calculators were the two big things that I got calls for. And we would have access to all of the manuals for each model, and we would just have to know what model it was, go on our computer, find the manual, search it, and then there we go. And if we couldn't figure it out by whatever the manual said, then we either called in a manager who was experienced, like fully experienced in
He had
Casio.
memorized the manuals.
Right. Or we had to send it in to get fixed, like, because something was actually broken on it, like you got a defective model or something. But yeah, manuals are incredibly important. So I that's the one thing that I learned, telemarketing. And to, even if you're really grumpy about something, you're really upset about something, don't take it out on the person that is trying to help you and is only doing like what their best to try and help you. Like, they're not going to solve miracles over the phone. I promise you they are not.
But they're trying.
They're trying, and that's all that matters. Like,
Okay, I am going to vow this weekend to call Casio tech support. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to say, listen, my Casio watch is working perfectly, and I just wanted to say thank you, and that I appreciate that you're there on standby in case I screw something up.
Yeah,
that
because,
would be really nice.
Because your
It would.
Casio watch, I mean,
Mine just works.
well, I mean,
but you don't know how many times I would get a person
to-
that pushed a button wrong, or like they somehow set a
there's
timer.
3 buttons.
Yes, but I would be dealing with like,
No, I get it though. So you think about it though. In our office, okay, maybe it's just for me.
calculators were like the
When
big
I
thing.
don't understand how something won't work, or I can't figure it out, or I want something put somewhere, Michaela has got this innate ability to problem solve it through the issues and get to where we need to be.
She reads the manual.
It's because I did it for a summer, and I
would like to
learned
say
that
that-
skill.
Yeah, she does a great job.
If there is something that I just Google it. I mean,
Well,
or
that was
YouTube it.
before the days of Google.
That
what
it
happens-
It
was.
was and before YouTube.
Instead of calling someone that's gonna be in a bad mood to answer the questions I have, I just YouTube it.
That's the other thing I want people to understand. Like, and sometimes I jump on that train too, and you call tech support for something or customer service for something, and they are not the most pleasant people. Well, I would say a portion of the time they may not be pleasant people in general. Majority of the reason is because they are dealing with people who are so mean and so rude to them that it really just breaks you down. And when someone calls you, they're just like, I'm done and over this. So don't take that personally because they're just dealing with a lot of struggle.
You know, I was
It's
really
hard.
I was really nice with Dish network provider. I was very nice.
I've never
when I
had an
called them.
issue with Dish.
No, I'm not
customer
talking about
service.
Dish. A different kind.
Oh.
A different company.
Oh, okay.
Every time I call them, I was nice.
Yeah.
And they always treated me like I
Had done something wrong.
Well, I did say some
I'm-
people just aren't meant for
I'm telling you, like,
service.
and it was not just one. It was just that I called several times, and I got different people, and they all were in a bad mood.
Oh, that's a
You
bummer.
know-
At the point, I was like, okay, you know what? Just I'm done. Just
I have to
kill my
admit,
service.
I loved
Really?
the days.
Yes.
I loved the days that I didn't do tech support and then I was doing like cold calls. I used, depending on when you worked, I would call for decks for the yellow pages. And so in that you have no control over who you're calling. But it's really, it's awful, but it's
Did I hang
really
up on
fun.
you?
Probably. But I would go into work at 8 a.m. and I would call out to Seattle, which, it's 5 a.m. there.
How do you do that?
I have no control over what my computer dials. Like, I'm just in a queue of people, and it just dials whoever. So I had people answer the phone at 5 a.m.
No,
and they would fully, answer my questions and be super nice about
That's
it.
so sweet.
I know. The other one was, if you worked, Friday nights, you, or at least I did a couple
Did
of
you do
times.
the movie calls?
Yeah, the Nielsen calls, and you would get, what their ratings were of movies and TVs and stuff, which was kind of fun. But yeah, it wasn't the most pleasant
Actually,
job.
sounds like fun.
Yeah.
5 o'clock morning calls up to Seattle. They serve coffee out there, so
They do,
yeah.
but that was
How about Daria? Have you had a?
Yes, I had a part-time job. I was a chauffeur
Nice.
for a retired doctor. He was really old.
so you were Morgan Freeman in Driving Mrs.
Yeah, I don't even.
Have you seen Driving Miss Daisy?
Parts of it?
Okay.
Yes. Oscar winner too, right?
That was,
Yeah.
that was the first baby I ever watched in my house.
So I
By the
used to drive this guy, and he was really old. He was
Very
old.
nice.
He was really nice, but he once in a while, get in the car, and it was like Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays. It was like go afternoon, get in the car. He will be ready to go. Get in the car with his little cane. Get in the car. He will just drive for 3-4 hours around the city. That's it.
Oh, he wasn't going anywhere
He
in
was not
particular.
anywhere,
Just going for sightseeing.
And once in a while, he'll stop and visit friends here and there. Like he will stop and visit his colleagues and places. And it was really funny. He was like, "Just wait right here." And then he needed help to get out,
Mhm.
so I will go into the house, and it was like pretty cool. Which is funny because his daughter she was a teacher, but she had a huge yard, all fenced. And the first time I walked into that house, he said, "All right, we're going to my daughter's house, and be careful. There is a few dogs in there." So I'm thinking there is some mean dogs, or there is a few dogs that are gonna be jumping all over. So walk in there, and I am not kidding you. There is hundreds of dogs in this
What?
house, and I am not kidding.
Did it smell like dogs?
It smelled like more like poop than dogs. So and it was a nice house inside. Like it was a huge.
So she just like a dog rescue?
She basically went around. I don't know, drove around, and I guess she found dogs in the streets and just brought them in. And there was so many dogs.
I used to want to do
They-
that.
I
opened
think
the
I
gate.
am that person.
They opened the gate. I drove in, and there's this kind of, I don't know, like butler. I don't know. He opened the gate. We walk in. We drove, and I'm like, "Where are we?" And I looked around, and all these dogs chasing the car. Like I felt, I don't know.
It's like Homeward Bound, where they're like,
It is
"Oh
the
my
million
goodness,
times.
What
right?"
is happening? So I opened the door, and he's like, "I told you there's gonna be a lot of dogs. Just help me over here because I won't be able to open the door." I couldn't open the door. All the dogs were like right there. So I love this job. And so once in a while, he reclined his, seat, so he was sleeping all the way back. So it looked like, and it was a nice car. I don't even remember what kind of car, but it was a nice shiny car. So I would just drive around, and
he'd be taking a nap.
I'm taking a nap, and I would be driving a woman. So sometimes I felt like, hopefully I don't get up, the police stop me or something, because they're gonna think, who's this guy? there was
Who's the dead man in your car?
Old man, did you kidnap him to drive his car or something?
I just borrowed his car for the afternoon to drive around the city.
The craziest thing about this job.
That's the wait. The dogs wasn't.
No, it was not.
Okay.
Okay.
I also would drive, go groceries for the wife, but once in a while he'll be in the mood to drive. So the sons and daughters told me, never let him drive. But when an old man is next to you and he gets grumpy and he wants to drive, I couldn't say no. We save our lives several times. So the old man will be driving and he'll be like, and he will be going sideways. I mean, he will be shaking, going like this. So, and I will be like, dog, be careful. And then he's like, I know what I'm doing. And I'm like, no, you don't know. So I will reach to grab the wheel and put it back. And he will get so mad about it. He will stop in the middle of the street and, don't do that. You're going to get us in an accident. And I'm like, yeah.
Or you are.
I will get, but that happened once in a while.
But that's still really neat, though, that you were...
Now when you're driving in an avenue and he wants to drive, like we'll drive in, slow areas, like in the neighborhood, but he wanted to go the avenue, and when you go in there, you cannot just stop in the middle, and he did a couple times.
Like,
so just stopped.
It's like being in one of those circle thingies, the roundabouts, and deciding to stop and take a picture of the center.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah,
I've seen
enjoy
that
this.
happen.
I enjoy this job just because because I drove everywhere in this city where I was not from, and now I know the city, the ins and outs of the city.
That's really neat, though.
Oh, let me go drive here. I drove through some really sketchy neighborhoods in northern Mexico. You don't want to do that, but I did. But now I know where things are.
You know where not to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mine's not nearly as cool as that one. I was in customer service for the Lincoln Stars, their first game, their first season.
Ever?
Their first season ever is like 90,
you were there for history.
96, 97, 90, one of those. I was still in college. But I had a backpack. It was a beer backpack. So I was in customer service sections A through D. And you had beer in the back with a CO2 thing, and the thing ran down your arm, and you'd have a cup holster. And you go, pow.
That's like the perfect party.
Yeah. So that was a really cool job. And I got to know the people in my section because it was the first year and the place was packed and a lot of season ticket holders and stuff like that. And
their games are still packed.
They are, and they tipped me. There's these four or five dudes. They had these construction helmets on in section A, and they gave me a Christmas present. They tipped me like $100
What?
because I took care of them. Yeah.
See, that's pretty sweet.
That is.
Being nice pays off, and showing a little bit of hustle.
Yes.
I would have been too short for that backpack.
It was a pretty cool job. And also, the timing was they always shut off the alcohol like at the start of the third period. So us that were in the stands with the backpacks, we'd always make sure that we filled right before, because once you filled the beer from the keg into the backpack, you can't put it back in.
Right.
So it's either drink it or pour it down the drain. So we would clock out and
drink your backpack.
drink our backpacks.
That's smart. Thank
Yeah,
you.
it was. We figured that out quick.
Then you said I didn't have as fun as
I feel
part-time
like
job as you guys.
Yours was pretty cool, though.
wow. My favorite part-time job, Starbucks. I think I've worked in Starbucks in several different states. I worked in Beaverton, Oregon. I worked in Michigan and Minnesota, and I've helped open stores, but I really liked that job. So I worked for Starbucks before there was Frappuccino. There was no Frappuccino when I started at Starbucks.
Back when Starbucks was about coffee.
We had coffee, we had Tiazo teas, we had this really good mango smoothie that we used to serve that I loved. But it was mostly about coffee. And the most expensive drink on the menu was a Venti Mocha Valencia, which cost $4.80 before tax. And that was 5 pumps of chocolate, 5 pumps of orange syrup, 4 shots of espresso, and steamed milk and whipped cream. Really, really rich. Like, you really shouldn't order a Venti, one of those, but they were kind of a nice drink every once in a while. I loved Starbucks because I got to have coffee whenever I wanted.
Similar to my Lincoln Stars
right?
job.
Except for you drink beer.
Mm-hmm.
And what I loved, though, was I was the opener, so you were trusted with like the most valuable part of someone's day. And you got to know people. So I think about...
Also similar.
Yeah, I got to
felt
know
like
my
I was
clients.
the most important part of these people's days.
I think you were.
Now, do you have like regulars? Like
I did.
people
So I
that
think
you-
about the fact. So there is a guy. His name was Griffin, and he was a CEO in a big company down in Minneapolis. And one time I got to house sit for him. And his passion when he wasn't being a big, huge moneymaker was he liked to make homemade pasta and cook. And he was quite a ladies' man. A beautiful wine selection. Then I got to babysit his house once, and I got to drive his Range Rover. It was a really rough day, like for a week driving around his car. It was lovely. He also was one of his cars that he got. It's the reason it's my favorite car. He got a Mercedes G Series, which is like the Mercedes version of a Range Rover.
G-Wagon?
So pretty, and it was navy blue, gorgeous. And he let me drive that the last month of my college career because I would go back to his house to take care of the dogs. Anyway, I get to meet him. There was Leslie. Leslie had 2 kids, and her husband was deaf, so she learned to sign. And they're a beautiful, beautiful couple. And their kids, I just adored their little kids. I had a mom who would come in, and she had a boy with Down syndrome. And he loved to play chess. Now, I'm terrible at chess. But she was a single mom, and her job was to take care of her son. And I got to know her son, and his name was Charlie. Really sweet kid, about 11 years old. So I would take my lunch break on Thursdays, and Charlie would come to the coffee shop or come to Starbucks. And him and I would play chess for an hour. And his mom would go get a manicure or go buy groceries for an hour. He would drink an extra hot vanilla steamer with more, it was like a vanilla steamer cappuccino. There was more foam, and kick my butt at chess. And I didn't let him, I'm terrible at chess. And he would tell me about his favorite colors because he loved colors, and we'd have lunch. And I loved that too. But I really loved Starbucks because I liked the customer training and I loved the people. But I think I've met some of my greatest friends and had some of the greatest experiences, so I liked that. And I got introduced, I just love that company. And my other favorite part-time job was when I lived in Oregon, and I worked at Cannon Beach Christian Conference Center. Lived in a house with a bunch of girls, served breakfast and lunch and dinner in the dining hall. Sometimes we did laundry and did changeover and stuff and housekeeping. We lived on the ocean. I was supposed to go there for 6 weeks. I think I came home 18 months later. It was just an amazing job. But again, customer service. And I think, much like probably all of us, we were drawn to places where we could create meaningful moments for people and be an important part of solving an issue or creating something important. But yeah, I love it. When I go back to my old store, the first store I worked in, it brings you back in. It was next to a bagel place that had these cinnamon knots that were phenomenal, and I don't know, I really loved it. And I love the coffee, and I loved everything I learned about coffee. And I learned a lot. So, yeah.
I like that because I like coffee, and I too have I've thought about getting a job where I could live in a beach house with a bunch of women too. So I think we have a lot of. We got a lot of.
Dario has no idea
What just happened?
A lot of similarities in our work here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that if you look at that whole premise, though, of everything that we've done, just our first jobs and our part-time jobs, it really does tie into what we do here and the experience we try to create for our clients and why we think so hard about the different things that we do for our clients and our company and our team. Because I think we've all worked for maybe teams that were maybe not as unified and bosses who were maybe a little bit more challenging in areas that weren't necessarily growth provoking. And we've had experiences where you look at it and you think, gosh, I could have maybe done that differently, or I wish I had the say to do something different. And I think we bring all that here, and I think you see that in the great work we do here.
I'd say that most people that know us know that we do our jobs not for the paycheck, but for the experiences that we can provide. And we all talked about jobs here that were, the stories we told were about people and interaction with people. It wasn't about, oh, I drove a car. You didn't even remember what car it was.
I don't know what car it was.
But you remembered the relationship you had with the dude and the experiences that.
Yeah. It was fun times, actually. It was.
I learned how to make homemade pasta from Griffin, and that was really neat. That was really, really neat. I also learned how to change the oil on a Mercedes G-Wagon.
Michaela could do that because there's a manual. It's
But
not
there's
a problem for her.
There is, yeah. No,
I rely
It's in
heavily on
German,
manuals.
but
But she can do
I
it.
can Google
you can
translate
do it. You can
it.
Google it. I'm not sure what we learned here today. I'm sure that you all learned something. I don't know if you guys can see us anymore because we're not sure if that camera's working.
Yeah, I don't know.
But
Oh, you read this.
we're going to wrap it up.
I didn't get a chance.
Hopefully you all learned something. I know I did. I enjoyed listening to us today. So with that note, I need to go get some more coffee. So we'll wrap it up by saying this has been the Hospitality Authority podcast here at the Leadership Center, where we create moments that matter.